What's up? It's Trey Harris here, wide receiver for Los Angeles Chargers, and you're tuning in to Chargers Unleashed.
Welcome to another edition of Chargers Unleashed. Jake Hefner and Wolkenstein here with you from the LA Football Network. If this is your first time tuning in this show, make sure you hit that like, subscribe button on YouTube. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Dan Wolkenstein. Regular season. Done. In the past. In the books. That's old news. It is Chargers playoff football in January. Dan Wolkenstein. Chargers go on the road to face the number 2 seed New England Patriots for the wild card round of the playoffs. Lots to get into as it relates to this one. Spicy matchups, strength on strength, weakness on weakness. Who's going to execute better? And for God's sakes, can we just get Justin Herbert a playoff victory? Dan Wolkenstein.
Please. Please. Oh, this week has been torture, and it's only Wednesday night. Chargers fans, we have reached the moment. We have reached the moment where we get to witness this Chargers team in the playoffs through all of the drama and heartbreak, through all of the PTSD, through all of the lessons learned, and all of the heroics we have seen from this Chargers team this year. Battle tested. Now they go on the road to New England in Foxborough, take on the Patriots. This is a big one, clearly, obviously. And we're going to talk about it. Chargers offense, Patriots defense, vice versa, X factors, predictions, all of that stuff. Jake, before we get to all of that, let's pay the bill. Let's talk about our friends because we have an insane show today.
Yes. The NFL postseason is here. Playoff time, baby, which means you now have a chance to win up to $1,000 your cash on daily fantasy football with Sleeper. Football has never been more exciting than what it is right now with players like, gotta admit, Drake Maye, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen. Bet on these stars for players with these stats like touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more for up to 1,000 times payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right and you could win big. Just use the promo code Chargers LAFB and you can get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper terms are used for details. Currently operating in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today.
Chargers, Patriots, wild card round. We've arrived, folks. We have arrived. The Chargers are in the playoffs. Boy, does it look clean. Man, it feels good. And Jake, real quick, let's just talk about off the top. It's a vibe in Chargers land. Chargers fans are so pumped, so ready, and it feels different this year. I've got my rally towel. I'm ready to go. This Chargers team has been through it all. The fans have been through it all, and now they are here. We are here. We're not padding up, Jake, but it feels like I have gotten hit from a middle linebacker for the last 2 decades. And I'm ready to see this team come out victorious. There's so many paths to victory, but there are also paths to failure and heartbreak, which we have seen too often in Chargers past. Jake, how are you feeling? How's the vibe so far before we get into the nitty-gritty?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you were wondering where positive Dan Wolkenstein has been all season long.
I haven't said anything positive yet.
I can just tell in the hype of your voice, though. Like, you got energy right now.
How can you not?
And it's rightfully so. Everybody's got energy right now. It's the playoffs. It's back to 0-0. Records do not matter. But there are so many underlying storylines as it relates to this matchup for the Chargers, for Justin Herbert. We're going into this matchup for the New England Patriots, who have seemingly been one of the hottest teams all year. And how do you look at this from a standpoint to say, where is the execution going to be better on one side of the football over the other team? So I got a feeling, Dan, it just took the postseason to get you in a hyped mood. And I appreciate you going through all the slides that we can all see as far as the topics that we're going to be talking about.
Preview.
Really, yeah, that's what it's all about. I was telling Dan this off show. I don't know if I've ever seen a matchup where you literally have every single type of variable, where you have strength on strength matchups. If we're talking about the way that Drake Maye has played this year going up against Jesse Minter's defense, if we're talking strength versus weakness, the things that either team does well that the opposite team struggles against, or you have weakness on weakness. The Chargers have the worst offensive line that has been duly noted 1,000 times over, been well documented, well spoken about against one of the teams that doesn't really rush the passer all that well. Dan, what's going to give? What's going to give? Something has to break in this, and who's going to do it? So much to get into as it relates to this matchup.
Man, this is a fun one. And it's cool. Like, I will say, it's been fun to see, like, this Chargers team and, like, how they're how we are rallying the troops, so to speak. Like, they got all kinds of stuff going on over, across anywhere from, I don't know, Hollywood to Sherman Oaks, Hermosa Beach. They got watch parties up in Orange County.
They got them
everywhere. And so it's like the Southern California area is ready, and the Chargers team is kind of getting them. We'll talk about kind of some of the events and stuff that they have. Hopefully Chargers fans can get to some of those. We'll share those. But I think right now, Jake, like, what's going to give, I don't know. We'll get to, like, what's going to matter in this game, but realistically, this team just feels ready for the challenge. I'm not going to say I'm confident. I'm not going to say that they're going to win yet. I'm not going to say that this Patriots team should be scared. But what I will say is, compared to a year ago at this time, when year one of Jim Harbaugh, year one of the new culture, year one of the Greg Roman, remember all of that. And they win 11 games. Everybody talked about the cupcake schedule that they had. They still earned 11 wins. You only play who's in front of you. 11 wins. Were they tested? Did they beat a playoff team? How are they going to come up against a good defensive front? What about the offensive line? So many questions that they never answered last year. And there's a lot of hopium and optimism, just blind following the truck going into playoff mode. And everybody was hoping for Houston, because who's next? The Chiefs. And Houston's offense sucks. And lo and behold, the Achilles heels of things that were ugly for the Chargers all year bit them in the ass. They struggled against a defensive front. Their offensive line was not good. They had one weapon in Ladd McConkey for Justin to throw to, and that was it. And they crumbled. They did not have success. They were not battle-tested last season, and there was no evidence of them being able to do what we were hoping they could do against Houston. Now, you fast forward, beginning of this year, Jake, everyone says, oh, Chargers haven't beaten a playoff team. Well, they start off 3-0. They beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl twice, by the way. They beat the Eagles, won the Super Bowl. They beat the Cowboys, beat the Steelers, beat the Broncos. They're winning games this year that they just don't win in the past. Their offensive line has been atrocious. They've had gut-wrenching injuries. But somehow, this Chargers team has won through resilience, through a damn good defense, and through the fire and flames, through the wins and losses. They have gotten better. I feel like I should the lights out dance because Jake's lights just went out in his house.
What?
Your lighting just got all crazy. There we go.
It's just the computer screen changing.
Okay. I thought it was just vibes. They feel far more ready, and they have put far more on film this year that makes me believe that they are ready for the task at hand. Whether or not they will execute, I don't know. But they damn sure are more ready and prepared than they were last year, given the gauntlet that they went through this year. It's just, you can't say otherwise.
I don't know if I could put it any better than that, Dan. Honestly, I think that's where the vibe feels different as it relates to heading into this game. The mentality that people have about this game. Important, obviously, you wish you could have been contending for the AFC West, and having that Week 18 matchup means something against Denver. But Justin Herbert's health and getting him an extra week of rest was much more important. Getting some of these key guys like Derwin, Khalil Mack, other guys who have busted their ass all season, just to get them an extra week of rest, an extra week of preparation. It feels different because the majority of everybody, and I could understand the reasons why, seem to be favoring the Patriots in this matchup. But there is a lot that this Chargers team is playing for this Sunday. Number one, most obvious, number 10, getting him a playoff victory. How about on the opposite side of the ball, 52, Khalil Mack has never won a playoff game in his career. You think that he is not hungry for it?
How hungry? It takes me back 2 years ago. How hungry am I?
How hungry is he? Let's talk about the latest injury report, Dan, because it is Wednesday. Let's go through it really, really quick. Keenan Allen and Khalil Mack both did not practice today just due to a veteran rest day. No problems there. Austin Deculus, Bud Dupree, Keandre Lambert-Smith, Delshon Phillips, Kendall Williamson, and Omarion Hampton not practicing today. Now, it is early on in the week. Two of those names really stood out to me. Number one being Delshon Phillips. The other one obviously being Omarion Hampton, who, as Jim Harbaugh had talked about today, is still nursing that injured ankle that he suffered in the Houston Texans game. There was the reports, though, after that was told, that he was working off to the side with trainers, so he was on the field doing some type of work. Hopefully that is a indicator in the positive direction as far as what practice is going to hold over the next 2 days. But you feel like, Dan, especially for this matchup against New England, and in the elements that you're most likely going to be playing in on Sunday night, that maybe there's no more important player on offense than number 8. Sure. I was going to say actually number 8 for this matchup. For what you can do offensively to New England, obviously, yes, Justin Herbert is the top. But if we're talking about like the X factors, the ones that could come in and change the game and really set the pace, yeah, this Omarion Hampton news is not what you'd want to read on a Wednesday. But hopefully over the next 2 days, we'll be getting some more positive news on that front.
Hopefully. Yeah, I mean, Delshon Phillips will be a big one. Obviously, the number one special teams tackler in the entire NFL, Pro Bowl snub, part of the show.
Played great last week against Denver.
Yeah, he did. Him and Marlowax both played really, really well. I can't imagine him not playing. I just can't imagine Omarion Hampton not playing. Maybe that's the optimist homer in me. I don't know. We'll see. But the Patriots also have some guys who've been dinged up a little bit. But a lot of their guys are kind of coming back who they haven't had in a while. Like Harold Landry, questionable. Robert Spillane, questionable. These guys haven't been playing much as of late. They should be both playing. Morgan Moses is questionable. Anthony Jennings is questionable. Garrett Bradbury's questionable. So they got a bunch of dudes, and I think a bunch of guys were out due to illness.
Yeah, 3 of their offensive linemen got sick. So who's sharing spoons in that offensive line video room? But I do not expect that to keep any of those guys out for this matchup. Not at all.
No, me neither. And so honestly, I think some of the statistics for this defensive front for the Patriots is a little overtold in a positive way, in a negative way, excuse me. Like I think their front is better than what people are talking about because they haven't had some of their guys in the interior or the end. Harold Landry hasn't been there the entire time. There's been context here. I'm not saying it's great, but to say that they're terrible, I think is a very, very big stretch. A guy who's not being talked about a lot is the former Las Vegas Raider, Robert Spillane. I like him a lot. I loved his game in Vegas. I think he's a captain for that team in the Patriots. And he's kind of the heart and soul of that run defense for them. He's questionable, but he's back this week. This is a tough team. Like, yes, is this a quote unquote favorable matchup compared to the other teams that they could have played? Maybe. They're still a 2 seed. They still won a grip of games, and they could still very well beat this Chargers team many different ways. They have an MVP caliber quarterback. They have a damn good head coach. They've got a smart defense, and they have weapons at both receiver and running back and tight end. So miss me with they're not good. This should be a cakewalk. Like, stop. The Chargers understand the assignment. And this Chargers defense, I feel, is ready.
You've been there before.
They've got the tools to do it, but they've been there. Like, compared to what they've gone through this season, this doesn't seem any worse. This doesn't seem any harder. I'm sorry. It doesn't. I'm not saying it's not hard, but it doesn't seem harder. Jake, a lot of people are going to be going to Foxborough. I think a lot of people are making their way out to New England, which is out in the middle of nowhere, by the way. Foxborough. Have you been to Foxborough?
No, but I know you spent some time in that area.
Yeah, lived there for 5 years. Foxborough is like in the middle of nowhere, in like a 2-lane road going back and forth from the city out there. There's like nothing out there except for Robert Kraft's whole complex. And so like it's a cluster, but there's really nothing much out there except for on game days. But for folks who aren't going to the games, there's a ton of folks who have opportunities for events here throughout the Southern California area. I think we need to do this team justice. And I think we have to help get folks and let folks know where things are happening. So that way, if you want to go be a part of this, go feel like you're a part of the team, feel a part of playoffs. You go get your free rally towels with the purchase of basically anything at a ton of these shops on the screen here on the left-hand side. Anywhere from Hollywood, Hermosa Beach, Sherman Oaks, Bixby Knolls, down to San Diego. Dirty Brews, by the way, incredible wings. Any of those places, you can go get free rally towels for the playoff push. They got events starting tonight at Happy Does, I think it's Doe's down in San Diego. I've never been there, actually. Dave & Buster's at Orange County on Thursday. The fan rally at the Bolt on Friday. And then, of course, the watch party in El Segundo on Sunday. Everyone is in this together. The Chargers fans have been through it. But again, like, the vibes feel different, dude. I'm not like, I struggle. 1 minute, I'm like, the sky's falling. The other minute, I'm like, bring it. Giving Meek Mill in my veins constantly. What I'm embracing in this one, Jake, is just the fact that, like, this team effing earned it this year. Win, lose, or draw, like, there is no, like, oh, they just kind of cakewalk their way into the playoffs this year. Like, they beat some damn hard teams. They went through some insane adversity. And yes, they have some of their bumps and bruises along the way and their mistakes. But, dude, given all the shit that they've gone through, this team has earned their right to beat up a Patriots team who has played a lot of bad teams and a lot of bad quarterbacks. This is the best team I think Patriots team will go up against. You can say what you will about when they went up against Carolina or when they went up against the Bills. This is the best defense, I'll tell you that. So be a part of it. Go to any one of the watch parties. Go to eat some grub. Get a towel. Show pictures everywhere. Send them to us. Like, this is the fun times. You've worked your entire year as a Chargers fan with all your feelings for this moment. Like, go enjoy it. Embrace it. Be a part of it. And beat that drum. Beat that heart, man. Like, this is the week. This is the week. Do so respectfully. Do so responsibly. But cheer them on, man. Cheer them on. Let's get into it, Jake.
Break it down.
Chargers offense, Chargers defense. Which way you want to go?
You know what? Let's save Jesse Minter for last.
All right, so you want to go Chargers offense?
Let's go
Chargers offense, Patriots defense. I'll give you the floor. Set the stage.
This is going to be the tale that has haunted the Chargers all season long. What Chargers offensive line is going to show up? And for a majority of this year, we know which one has showed up. Like Groundhog Day, with the exception of essentially the Dallas game, it's not been a good offensive line. Now, you have Jamari Sawyer, who's come in and gave a little bit of stability to that left tackle spot over the last couple of weeks, which has been great. But here was the weakness versus weakness element that I was talking about, Dan, because, again, you have one of the worst offensive lines in the league. And then you flip to the New England defense as far as where they're ranked in terms of getting after the quarterback, and they're towards the bottom of the league. However, I will say this. Christian Barrymore. Christian Barrymore, and getting Milton Williams is back for them is absolutely huge because the two of them are in the top 5 as it relates to getting after the quarterback individually for pass rush stats. Now, take that as you will, given the competition that they've faced. But I still remember when the Chargers played the Tennessee Titans, when the Tennessee Titans did not have Jeffrey Simmons, and they still got after Justin Herbert in that game and were still able to put him on the ground. So this is really, believe it or not, Dan, you can call this one of many X factors for this game. And I may be in denial with saying it. When you look at what the weakness of this New England defense is, talked about rushing the passer, so obviously the offensive line has to hold up. They're not good when it comes to covering outside runs against running backs, so you know that the run game is going to be very much a focal point of this game. Please, for the love of God, do not run in between the tackles because it just has not worked all year. But Dan, I'm going to need, and I really mean this, and I know I'll probably get laughed at for even having any type of belief that this might happen. But I'm going to need Greg Roman to harken back to week 1. And I'm not saying that you execute the exact same type of play that you did against the Kansas City Chiefs, because again, it's a totally different team.
Or against
but
Steelers.
in terms, yes, but in terms of scheming up a game plan for Justin Herbert, and maybe the reason that I am in this mindset, Dan, if you go back 2 weeks ago, just days before the Denver game, do you remember Greg Roman's press conference? He took some accountability for what happened to Justin Herbert this year, and he put it on him. And I know that everybody is ready for Greg Roman to be gone from this team, this, that, and the other. They've had their reasons to be upset with him, and, that's their own, and whatever you want to take it. But then there's something inside of me that's telling me is like, that has to happen. That has to get better. And maybe with a week off, with Justin Herbert getting an extra week of rest with that broken hand, something is going to take place here. So I mentioned the areas that you can look to exploit. Well, obviously, keeping number 10 upright. If you are able to do what you did again in the Dallas game, you're going to be in a pretty good spot. If you're able to keep Justin Herbert upright, you're going to be in a really good spot. Additionally, Dan, and again, I think that both head coaches are going to employ this because that's just their mentality. And this is where Omari and Hampton really comes into play. You need the law firm of Vidal and Hampton to get going and exploit the outside areas of New England's defense. 100% you can do this. And there are areas that in the secondary and in the middle of that field that you can look to exploit that I think where you can get some open shots to Ladd McConkey downfield, Quentin Johnston downfield. But you have to start in the trenches, Dan. And this is where it's really going to be which weakness of each offensive or defensive unit is going to come out and play better than the other one.
Which weakness is worse? Yeah,
exactly. And there's reason to bet against the Chargers when it comes to offensive line versus defensive line.
That's not being a pessimist. Like, that's just reality.
But as Dan said earlier, Justin Herbert is a different Justin Herbert this year. Because despite having the worst offensive line, despite being hit more than any other quarterback in the NFL, you just see those moments, man, where he just hits the fuck it button and says, I'm going to do this myself. He's in the top 5 as it relates.
He's been better than his best excuse.
Yes, he's in the top 5 as it relates to rushing quarterbacks this year. There's been numerous times where he has been the leading rusher for the Los Angeles Chargers in their games. But if you were able to get Justin Herbert with an open lane, extend drives, the Superman-like mentality that he had against the Houston Texans in that specific drive, like, there's ways that you can exploit it. And Dan, do I think that this is going to end up being like a huge scoring shootout. Not if the Chargers play their game. No. In general, I don't think so. I think Harbaugh and Vrabel have a very similar game mentality that they're coming into this with. And it's kind of going to be like a prize fight situation to see which side is going to buckle first in a certain area. But Dan, the running game is going to really start everything. And I'm hoping to God that we're going to see a little bit more of running back screens, Dan. And which running back screens is like, you say that and the Chargers in the same sentence, nobody knows what the hell you're talking about this season because it's virtually non-existent. But the playoffs always bring something different to a team or a coaching staff, certain things that you haven't seen before. So yes, you can call it blind mentality, and maybe that's just me sucking the hopium a little bit. But I truly believe that coming into this and just listening to the words that Greg Roman had said 2 weeks ago, that there's going to be an added wrinkle in this game. Still going to play Harbaugh's game. Don't get me wrong.
It better be.
But I think that there is going to be another added element when it comes to finding a different way to protect Justin Herbert when it's not the 5 guys that are on the field that are responsible for doing so. There's other ways around that. What's going to buckle first, Dan?
Oh, I got so many feelings. I got so many thoughts, so many comments. There's a lot there. Look, I'm going to keep it pretty efficient here. This Chargers team has had a bad offensive line almost all year and could have lost them and did lose them many games, but they've still won 11 despite that. Even when they've gotten absolutely trucked, they have still won. This is a game in which don't get cute.
Nope.
You know your identity. You know what you're good at, and you know what you're bad at. You know what has failed, and you know what has succeeded. This is not the time to start trying new things. I don't want to, we know what works with Justin Herbert. We have seen the best of Justin Herbert and Amari Hampton and Keenan Allen and Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnson, Ronnie Gadsden. The list goes on. We've seen it. This game to me is about winning efficiently. This New England defense statistically is ranked pretty good overall. I go through the tops of their the overarching grades for them, and they're top 10 in a lot of stuff. But I look at some important things from my perspective. They blitz quite a bit. I think they're right around 11th or 12th in the NFL in blitz percentage. So you'd think that hurry percentage, pressure percentage, sacks would all be up. No, they're not. Their hurry percentage, they're 5th worst. Quarterback knockdown percentage, they're right in the middle of the pack. Pressure percentage, they're, I think, 9th maybe. Now, what they are, though, is efficient and effective. They don't miss tackles. Do you know who has the least missed tackles in the entire NFL this season? Take a guess. New England Patriots.
Schmooming and Patriots.
Yeah, but so you look at kind of the overarching stats for them, right? 4th best in touchdowns allowed via rushing, 6th best in yards allowed rushing. Passing is where they are a little leaky. They're kind of they're 18th in interceptions gotten. They are 9th in yards, but points allowed, 4th, yards allowed, 8th. Not bad. So don't get it twisted. This isn't a crappy defense. But this is a defense, we know the formula, right? This is a defense that the Chargers offense and Greg Roman and company should be able to manage and should be able to overcome. Should. So how do they do it, right? This defense has some studs, right? Harold Landry's good. Christian Barmar's good. Christian Gonzalez, insane. Robert Spillane, I like a lot. People want to poo-poo the receivers, but Stephon Diggs, he's still damn good. Go look at his statistics this year. Drake Maye is a stud. Travion Henderson, Ramondre Stevenson, both damn good. So, the team's good. The team's good. They're efficient. They're smart. They're just like their coach. They got dudes. But don't get cute. You have this is one of those games where you have the resources. You have the team to win this game. You rewind to last year against Houston. If we're being honest, Chargers offensive line, Houston defensive front, did they have the team to win that game? Ladd McConkey and who else? Do they have the weapons to win that game? They have the quarterback to win it. It's quarterbacks. Wins isn't a quarterback stat. You can say it is. They have it now. They have the complement of weapons that we talked about all season. There's a graphic we still have on our screen from weeks ago at the beginning of the season of like 7 or 8 dudes that this Chargers offense and Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert have that they didn't have last year to complement Ladd McConkey. Keenan Allen comes in for pennies and goes off, breaks the record. Ladd McConkey still Ladd McConkey. Quentin Johnston, ho-hum, another ball-in season. How many touchdowns does that kid have now? Like 17 or something crazy? 16, I think, in 2 seasons. Amari Hampton looks legit. Kamani Vidal is doing awesome things. Aronde Gadsden, Trey Harris. Like, I'm talking studs, dudes. Reliability for Justin Herbert that he did not have. They have the offense to win this game. And that's including the offensive line. I'm not saying they're good. They're not. But they have pieces to overcome that still. They got to do it.
Dan, real quick, you were talking about those weapons that Justin Herbert didn't have last year, the ones that didn't perform. And you mentioned some of the studs that New England has in their defense. Christian Gonzalez, they're getting Roberts Spillane back, which is huge. Milton Williams coming back is huge for them. Marcus Jones has kind of been an under the radar.
He's good. Great
defender / returner for them. But he's been awesome in coverage. So who do I think is going to step up offensively for the Chargers in this game? I mean, obviously, you feel like you haven't seen Ladd McConkey be Ladd McConkey outside of that Dallas game in a long time.
It's been a minute.
I think he's going to get his opportunities, but I'm telling you what, Dan, this feels like, just based off the matchups and where they might set themselves up for, Keenan Allen, Trey Harris type of a game. I'd love to see it.
Wait till we get to X Factors. We're getting X Factors here. Let's switch it, Jake. Chargers defense, Drake Maye, and offense. Go for it.
Drake Maye. I don't care what his competition is. It's been a hell of a sophomore season for him.
Stud.
Top 5 in virtually every quarterback and passing category that you can possibly come up with this season. He has been absolute nails. The connection between him and Stephon Diggs, this is according to Next Gen Stats, Dan, they have the highest completion percentage among a quarterback and wide receiver duo. They're number 1. Number 2 is Matthew Stafford and Puka. Number 3 is Sam Darnold and JSN. This duo is number 1. And by the way, they have a 2-headed monster at running back. And they have been running the shit out of the ball the last several weeks.
Add Drake Maye in that 3-headed monster.
Yes, because he is not afraid to use his legs. He could be just as mobile as Justin Herbert. You go back to that Bills game, even in a loss. Actually, I'm confusing it. Maybe I'm confusing it with the Ravens game. He had 10 carries in that game, Dan. Crazy. He is not afraid to take the ball down and run with it, and just like Justin Herbert does, extend drives when need be. And now you're going up against a Jesse Minter defense, who we've talked about so much as far as being one of the teams that runs the most zone-heavy schemes in the NFL. There is elements to this that really is going to come down to the trenches to say, like, okay, is this going to be another situation for what wins out? Because the Chargers themselves have a 3-headed monster at pass rusher. Khalil Mack, Thule, Odafe Owe. This is where you need to win. I think they have a much better interior than what people give them credit for with the way that Tyler Tart and Deshaun Hand have played this season. Jamari Caldwell is an very much ascending rotational piece of that defensive line.
Hell, a boy be.
Dan, we've talked about this all season long, essentially really after the bye week and the Jacksonville game. The defense is going to be what's going to have to carry you. And to be perfectly honest, it's not going to change as it relates to this game. Yep. If the New England Patriots are able to get the ball running, which they have wasted no time in doing against the New York Jets, the Miami Dolphins, and seemingly every team that they have played over the last month, maybe save for the Baltimore game. They know how to run the ball, and they know how to keep guys fresh, and they're able to produce. They're getting some guys back on the offensive line that is very, very big for them for this matchup. So where is it that you're going to look to exploit? You have to take a similar mentality the way that the Ravens did before they choked away their loss. A similar tactic that the Bills implemented in the second half of that game when they had to come back from a 21-point deficit that New England blew. And you have to limit the run game. You have to contain outside. And Dan, the other element of this that is really key of note, because this is where another thing where the Chargers have struggled at, not only do the New England Patriots know how to run the ball very well, but they're very good at getting their running backs involved in the passing game. And if you go back to early on in the season, you look at starting at the Washington Redskins game, 4 receptions, 51 yards. A week later against Miami, which obviously the Chargers ended up winning that game, but they still had 8 receptions for 45. Indianapolis with Jonathan Taylor, what they did, it was 4 receptions for 46. Even in the Tennessee game, it was 5 receptions for 48.
The Texas route, the smoke routes for
even Denver last
Henderson
week
scares the crap out of me. Yeah,
right. Denver last week, it was 8 receptions for 50 yards.
Yep. And by the way, they have Hunter Henry too.
Didn't even get to Hunter Henry yet. So there's so many similarities as far as where each coach is going to look to exploit the opponent's weaknesses. And for the Chargers, you've seen it plenty of times when we're talking about outside containment or those type of screens in the run game that they have to protect and be disciplined on. You're going to have to be very disciplined as far as, let's just say, Deion Henley being the spy for Drake Maye, keeping him in contained. As we mentioned, that's just a third element that you have to worry about in the backfield if protection ends up breaking down for him. And this secondary, Dan, seemingly you're going to, fingers crossed, get Elijah Molden and RJ Mickens back for this game. Be big. You're going to get Denzel Perryman back for this game, which is definitely going to help in defending the run. But it has to be a vintage Jesse Minter defense mentality. Fast, physical, bully ball is what they're going to have to bring in a cold weather game.
Yeah, this is a big one. This is a big one. Again, like, we don't get it twisted. We've said it all season. The Chargers team will win and lose because of its defense. And Justin Herbert being Superman when he has to. If you expect Justin Herbert to put up 40 with this offensive line, like, it's not going to happen. But the Chargers, again, this Chargers team has the assets to execute this. You're going up against an offense who is, top 10 in most things. They also give up a ton of sacks. I think they're top 10 in sacks allowed. I think they're top 10 in sack percentage. Sacks total, they have, 48 sacks on the season? Now, don't ask what the Chargers were, 60, second worst in the NFL. They could be had. And it's feels like Groundhog Day. One of the biggest stats that I'm looking at in this game is like one single line. And it's going to be Drake Maye rushing attempts, rushing yards, and third down conversions. Like, that's it. To me, if there was one stat line, aside from turnovers and penalties and stupid mistakes, whatever, that's the stat line. I trust Jesse Minter's secondary. I trust Tony Jefferson, Elijah Molden, Derwin James, Cam Hart, Tarheeb Still. I trust all those dudes. I trust Odafe Owe. I trust Thule. I trust Khalil Mack. I trust the defensive line. I trust that. Denzel Perryman, I think, is a huge get back for this game. But like most seasons, the Achilles heel, now that's usually without Deion Henley now, who's back. If they can contain Drake Maye, which you saw them not do to Bo Nix, and again, those were backups. You see the difference, right? If they can contain him and make him beat you with his arm in the pocket, I like my chances. I like my chances. And that's not me being a homer. I'm just looking at what this guy does. Now, there are some tendencies that he has. I'll tell you that. If you get him thrown between the numbers between 10 and 20 yards, sign me up. Between 10 and 20 yards, middle and right, he has a combined 5 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. But if you let him throw deep or middle left, the kid's got, 10 touchdowns, no interceptions, like 140-something quarterback rating. Hell, deep middle's got 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. 140 quarterback rating. It's the middle of the field. If you can muck up the middle, I'm talking thick picks. Give me some folks in the middle, like Tony Jefferson, Elijah Molden, like in the middle of the field. If you can keep the outside contained and make him beat you over the middle, that's your recipe, in my opinion. We'll see. Can they do that? I don't know. But let's get to X Factors real quick before we get to the predictions. You're on mute, so I'll go first.
I was just going to say the last thing on this, and this is where everybody who's just looking at like the face value of the matchups when it comes to like New England to say, oh, they haven't had an attrition schedule the way that the Chargers or other teams have had this season. Stats are stats. I'm not taking anything away from Drake Maye and the season that he's been able to put up. But if we're talking stats for stats here, this is the best defense that Drake Maye is going to see all season. And as Dan said, I trust Jesse Minter in this game.
So, X Factors. Jake, you kind of stole a little bit of my thunder here.
Sorry, sir.
Keenan Allen, for me, is a huge X Factor. Obviously, Justin Herbert is the X of X Factors. They didn't have Keenan last year. They had nobody else other than Ladd who can get open, even though Ladd went for 200 yards, basically. Justin trusts Keenan. They have a history. This is the best opportunity they have at a chip their entire career. And they have synergy like he never left. Third and Keenan lives forever. I think that's going to be massive for this game. I want to say Quentin, but I do think Quentin's going to be matched up against Christian Gonzalez a lot, so I don't know about that. But I like Trey Harris. I like a Rodney Gadsden sneaky one too. But now that they have Ladd and Keenan, they can throw to in case of emergency break glass. Those are my X Factors.
There is a different element when Quentin Johnston's on the field. And even if he's not the one getting the ball, it just opens up more opportunities for everybody else on this team. And again, maybe it's a little bit of nostalgia, but when you just start looking at this as far as who's going to be responsible for covering who, I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities for Keenan Allen to be open. This seems like an opportunity for a vintage Keenan Allen type of a game.
Paint the Picasso.
But also, again, we talk about just all the elements going into this game as far as just mindset goes, not only for 10, because 10's obviously the biggest one as far as getting a win for him. But think about Quentin Johnston. Even though it may not be a lot of opportunities that head his way, you think his contribution in the Houston Texans playoff game doesn't still haunt him? You think Ladd doesn't want it?
So
given the fact that he put up over 200 yards in that game and they still couldn't end up winning it.
Yep.
There's so many elements to this, Dan. But as far as like the big X factors, yeah, I think this is a Keenan Allen game. I think Trey Harris is ready to step up. I think he's been ready. You've seen him just insert himself in bigger moments of the game as the season has progressed. And yeah, I might be calling my shot here, but I see Trey Harris with a very nice game on this as well. But really, it's going to have to be all hands on deck. Pick who you want.
I don't
and
care
you can make a case for an X factor. Keenan, yes. Ladd, yes. Quentin, yes. Gadsden, yes.
Don't forget about Kamani Vidal, by the way.
I was just going to say Omarion Hampton and Kamani Vidal, yes. That's going to be
Vidal 60-yard reception. That'd be great.
If the two of them are able to rip off runs to the outside and put this game in a situation where it's Justin Herbert in a 3rd and 5 or less type of a situation, the Chargers are going to be in a very, very good position offensively to move the ball. Obviously, you have to score when you get inside the 20s, but in terms of moving the ball, you should be able to find success in a variety of different ways here, but you have to do it on the back of the running game, and you have to protect Justin Herbert.
X factors on defense before we get to the predictions, Jake. You mentioned the storylines. Man, the veterans on this team,
yes, sir,
are just oozing in desperation, and the time is now. For guys like Derwin James, for Khalil Mack, for guys like Tony Jefferson, right? Think about his trajectory and his season and his journey to get here. Think about Denzel Perryman, right? Like, I'm not even talking about the offense. I'm just talking defense alone. This team is so ready and tested. They've gone through hell, and they've picked themselves up like the damn phoenix in the ashes. To me, this is when your leaders lead. And if they are going to win, it's going to be on the backs of those who got them here. Derwin James has had an all season this year. Khalil Mack out for IR, still balling. Thule has a season to remember. The guys had incredible success. You look at the interior defensive line, but it's the leaders. And I would love nothing more. It would be so euphoric to see that Derwin James smile at the end of this game. To see that sigh of relief from Khalil Mack. To watch Tony Jefferson get to go back to Denver.
He really wants to go back to Denver.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. Derwin. I want Derwin, and I want Deion Henley spying on May all game long. X factor for you, Jake, before we get to predictions and wrapping up.
I couldn't have picked any better ones, honestly, Dan. For kind of like the win one for the Gipper type speech, you definitely want this for Khalil Mack, given where he's at in his career. But Derwin James is the games that we have seen from Derwin James' history. This is going to be where you need him the most, whether we're talking about what he can do against the run game, whether we're talking about one of these exotic type blitzes that Jesse Minter draws up for him in order to get after Drake Maye. This is going to have to be a game that is led by the veterans in that locker room. And you talked about them already, Dan. But Derwin James is going to lead the pack and the attitude as it relates to this. Khalil Mack is ready to play. I guarantee you. You heard some of those comments that he said after last week's game against Denver. He was very, very encouraged by what the young guys went out and did. And he wants to play for them. And he wants to play for 10. And he wants to obviously get a win for himself. But Derwin is going to be huge when you're talking about where you're going to need him. Covering Hunter Henry, sure. Defending the run to the outside, absolutely. Making it tough for Drake Maye, no question. The most versatile chess piece that you have on this defense needs to be at his very best on Sunday.
All right, Jake, we'll wrap it up. Game prediction. I don't even want to do bold predictions, honestly, because I don't give a shit what the bold predictions are. Just win. I don't care.
Yes.
I don't care. Let's just keep it at game predictions. Jake.
Dan, it's playoff time. It's Chargers playoff time. Do you think I'm going to pick against the Chargers?
There we go, Jake. Let's go.
No.
Come on.
You have to take into the weather element to this as well. So, again, I don't foresee this being a high-scoring game for either team. I think this is going to be a tough, gritty type of a win. Chargers 23-20.
23-20, says Jake. 23-17. Chargers. This is the year. They effing do it. They bring the noise. I don't care. Give me the euphemism. This is it. We are the storm. Weather the storm. The storm's coming. Feel the lightning. Fun. Whatever. Superchargers. This is it, man. I'm telling you, this is it. I got a feeling the vibes are immaculate, and they are going to get this one 23-17. I'm scared shitless, but damn it, there are so many reasons why this team feels ready, feels willing, and feels prepared, and feels resilient enough to get this win. Against a 2 seed or not, I don't care. 23-17. Win this for Justin. Win it for Jim. Win it for Derwin. Win it for Rashawn. Win it for all of them. Let Joe Alt come back to the Super Bowl. Sure. Chargers win. Jake, wrap us up. Get us out of here.
Who are you and what have you done with Dan Wolkenstein?
Put me out there, coach.
I don't know if I could finish it off with any more hype than Dan just gave there, but wherever you are, if you have access to a television, get out there to the locations that Dan and I put up on the screen for the Chargers watch party for this Sunday. Get out there. It's Justin Herbert in primetime on the road against the number 2 seed New England Patriots. Guys, this is going to be a hell of a game. 2 great coaches going up against one another, both on the, from the head coaching standpoint to the positional coaches to the players that are going to be out there on the field. There is so much on the line for this game, not only as it relates to progressing the Chargers through to another round of the playoffs for this year, but just in general for the mentality for Justin Herbert. And he has worked his ass off all year for it. Dan Wolkenstein, in the cold, in the wind, possibly even in the rain.
Through the fire and flames.
Doesn't it seem like the grit and the attrition that the Chargers have had to fight through all season long?
Mm-hmm.
Come home on Monday for a victory Monday with a Chargers win.
We need it. We need it. Be better than your best excuse. The Chargers offensive line has not been good. There are many reasons why they could lose, but they have overcome that. They have overcome adversity. They've battled to the end with everything. Hopefully, we are talking about a Chargers victory next week. And hopefully, we're talking about our trip to Denver. But right now, enjoy this moment. Enjoy these next few days. Enjoy the game regardless, because this team has done what most of us thought they couldn't do. They've won 11 games in spite of the travesty, in spite of all of the things that went wrong. Embrace it. Embrace this one, Chargers fans. You deserve this. You deserve this win. Hopefully the Chargers team can go out and get it. For Jake, I'm Dan. This is Chargers Unleashed. Appreciate all of you all season. Hopefully the season continues on the next Chargers Unleashed.